Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. We'll come back to brand new video. Arsenal have a massive boost on Jurrien, who could actually make an appearance before the season closes. So we could see him against Manchester United or probably against Everton. Mikel Arteta last week confirming that the player was very close to making it to the squad against Tottenham Hotspur. And that is how close he is, because he actually had a game with the under-21s where he scored a real good goal. So we're going to be talking about Jurrien. We'll talk about Mikel Arteta's record of reaching 100 wins in the Premier League. And that is actually before or record that he has over Arsene Wenger. He's reached 100 wins in less games as compared to Arsene Wenger. Is he going to go on to become an Arsenal legend? Mikel Arteta will be talking about that, and obviously we'll be getting some of the quotes from last night's press conference as the manager was celebrating the win against Tottenham Hotspur, talking about the Navi endings, the mistake from David Raya, and probably why Arsenal have to stay calm, win every game, because he thinks, and we all think, that maybe Man City could have a moment in there. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know what you think about Jurrien and how possibly that could impact our transfer market. Because for me, with Jurrien coming back, Arsenal could have a decision to make. Do you go out in the market and sign another centre-back stroke full-back, or having Tomiyasu, Kivio and Jurrien obviously with Ben White, that's enough cover for the wide areas. We concentrate on the midfield, on the wings, and also on the striking area as well. That is what we want to talk about in this video. Right, so let's start off with that big one where Mikel Arteta obviously made it to 100 wins. The gaffer now, if you look at this table, is above Arsene Wenger in the ranking of managers who have made it to 100 wins in less games. So Arsene Wenger, of course, got 100 wins in 179 games. Mikel Arteta, 169 games. Sir Alexander Chairman Ferguson, 162 games. Jurgen Klopp, 159. Jose Mourinho, 152. And, of course, the incredible Pep Guardiola at 134 games. It's incredible that last week actually, we're talking about whether Mikel Arteta deserves to get a new contract at Arsenal. And a couple of people said, don't get him. I have a friend, very good friend from the Cannon Fodder, who told me, I don't think Mikel deserves a new deal. I don't think he's a man to get the new deal. And he was pointing to Zidane, he was talking to Ancelotti, the managers that could come in and win silverware for Arsenal. And I've already said this, that the part of the Arsenal fan base that want Mikel Arteta out, I understand. And the part that wants Mikel Arteta to stay, I still understand them. But for me, for what he has done as a young manager, a manager who has been nowhere in a job, to come in at Arsenal and bring in such order, to come in at Arsenal and, redirect the way the media talk about this club, the way the fan bases around the club view this club, that is incredible. That is phenomenal, right? 2-3 years ago, we were not talking about winning. 10 years ago, we were not talking about challenging the top two positions in the league. We were talking about different things. So for me, Mikel, again, I will challenge him when I feel he has fallen short. For me, he should be able to beat Aston Villa at a time like this where we need to win each and every game. He should be able to dump out Bayern, a Bayern side that have been incredibly, astonishingly poor this campaign. He should be able to progress through to the to the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. You can't fail to win the Champions League this season and fail to win each and every last game of the Premier League title race. It's unacceptable. But for me, what he has done again is purely incredible. And he's going to be up there for me when you talk about Jurgen Klopp, when you talk about Sir Alexander Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. If Mikel Arteta spends another 10 years at Arsenal, if he wins 3 titles, 2 UEFA Champions League, he's done better than Klopp. If he wins, and I'm serious, if he wins 3 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions League, titles, he's done better than club. It's as simple as that. So, Mikel Arteta, congratulations to reaching 100 wins. And we pray that he can now start winning the silverware and also, getting those records that have been set by Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger out of the way. Now, let's talk about Jurrien Timber as well, because this is a story I've wanted to talk about for quite some time, and somehow there was a lot to cover. The Tottenham Hotspur game, obviously, came in a way. But Mikel Arteta last week did break the story that Jurrien Timber is coming back fully fit for Arsenal, and he is actually very close. He was expected to make it to the squad against Tottenham Hotspur. Mikel Arteta said that they were assessing him over a few training sessions that were leading up to the North London derby. However, I think in the end, the team decided that Jurrien Timber was not yet there. He was not yet at the level they actually want him to be at in order for him to make the match day squad. Now, for me, Jurrien Timber coming back is such a massive boost for Arsenal. And it's not about this season, because the season is gone. If he had come back a little bit earlier, if he was fit for Bayern, I think we beat Bayern, right? If he plays instead of Kivio, Leroy Sané doesn't get that kind of joy, and Leon Goretzka as well doesn't get that kind of joy in that midfield. So I still think that Jurrien Timber would have been a key cog in the machine that would have stopped Bayern. And his absence led to Mikel Arteta gambling, playing Kivio, who was atrocious in the first leg, and in the second leg, it was kind of game over, because the Allianz Arena is not a stadium you go to and pick up points as if you deserve them, even if you deserve them. So I think Timber now is going to be a key consideration for Arsenal as we get into the summer. These are the key priority areas for Arsenal, and we'll talk about this when we get into the transfer talk later on today. But I think if Arsenal get one more defender, if Arsenal get two midfielders, a winger and a striker, 5 positions, this squad is in a much better place. And I'm not saying that all this should be done at once in one summer. I mean, I have to make some money. If Arsenal just sign 2 players or 3, and 3 in the next window, I make a lot of money. Simple as that. But this is what I want to say. With Jurrien Timber, Arsenal will have to prioritize other areas if he comes back. I don't think with Timber, Tomiyasu, Kivio and Ben White all able to play as centre-backs and full-backs, Arsenal are under a lot of pressure to actually sign another full-back. Actually, if Timber is ready and he is fit throughout the summer, Arsenal's problem and Arsenal's concern is to bring in a centre-back, because I think Mikel Arteta really prefers to have these full-backs play as fullbacks. He wants Tomiyasu as a fullback, Kivio as a fullback, White as a fullback, and Timber as a fullback. We have seen it. Gabriel and Saliba are the least rotated players in this Arsenal side. But why? You have Tomiyasu who can play as a centre-back, you have Ben White who can play as a centre-back, and all these guys who can play as centre-backs. The reason is Mikel Arteta thinks, having these players playing out as fullbacks just gives him enough security. So he would rather go out there and sign another centre-back, probably Osman Diamonde, probably, I don't know, we are looking at a couple of centre-backs. He would prefer to get in one more centre-back, one that can actually deputize for Saliba and Gabriel. So it looks like Timber coming back, Arsenal will shift their focus from a full-back to a centre-back. And I think that is what we need to do, right? And also, I think our most pressing areas right now are not at the back. Our most pressing areas is a replacement to Partey and possibly Jorginho. I don't think Jorginho still has another quality season like we have seen this campaign. Obviously, Arsenal are always on the ball, and we pull the strings a lot of the time, and we dictate play, a lot of the time. I've seen people telling me that Partey should stay. We'll have that debate. Should Partey stay? I'm not too sure. I'm not really sure, right? I'll do a video about that. But I think Mikel has to now consider a number 6, a number 8, a winger, and a striker. 4 positions are the most pressing. Those 4 positions are the priority positions. If Timber comes back, you don't look at the defense first. You look at the defense last. You spend your 100 or 200 million on the midfield and the attack. And if there is an extra 30, 40, 50 million left, you can deal with the defensive options, right? And that is also something that we can deal with in January. That's something we can deal with in the summer of 2025. I don't think we are defensively deficient. I think we are defensively okay. We just need to get in a very good replacement to Thomas Partey, someone who's more reliable. Maybe someone like Bruno Guimaraes, right? But Timber coming back for me is great news for Arsenal right there. Now, Mikel Arteta obviously was speaking to the media. I'm going to be running through some of the important quotes from him in that game. First and foremost, on David Raya's era, because that is something that I kind of felt like he needed to address, and the manager did address it as well. He said, it's a part of football. I don't like the principles we applied, at that moment, and after that, it can happen. You misjudge the situation, you try to make the pass, and you don't, and you have doubts. They took advantage of that, and then for the penalty, it was another principle inside the penalty area that you cannot do. It's part of football, but what I loved is that David picked up Gabriel Magalhaes, who is quite heavy. Then he was sensational for the last 20 or 25 minutes of the game. That is what I love about these players. Yeah, it's something that you've got to credit David Raya for, because after that mistake, he almost collected every ball that was swung into the penalty area. He collected every ball, and that is something that I talked about in the match reaction. That the difference between Vicario and David Raya is reliable in air. He is very reliable. Is a player that the defenders and the midfielders really trust. You can see that when the ball is swung into the penalty area, 1 or 2 of our wingers are already on foot, not really on foot. They are already on their marks, right? They're trying to provide an avenue for Raya to pass that ball into, because they know he's going to collect that cross, and they know he's going to quickly set them off. So I liked his response, but I don't like the mistake. The mistake is uncalled for. You're not even under pressure. Mikel Arteta on Arsene Wenger telling him he just has to find a way to win the game. He says, yes, he gave me the advice as well of not trying not to make it too hard for yourself. You just you can't just pretend that you will come here, not suffer, have a comfortable afternoon. That doesn't happen here. On the approach of the game, he said we had an issue with the high press. We gave so many simple balls away when our distribution wasn't good enough. The scoreline has an impact, but we looked a real threat as well on the counter. They commit so many players forward, and that forces you to be a bit deeper. But we didn't really concede much there. Then in the second half, in certain moments, we should have done better as well. Yeah, Kai Havertz, in my opinion, there was that chance that was kind of prompting him to hit it first time from Martin Odegaard, and then Bukayo Saka in that area in the second half of the game. You've got to kill the game, bury that chance. Really, really bury that chance. Mikel Arteta on the psychology of the title race. It says we are hopefully going to make it a great one, and the players can be more convinced. To win here 2 years in a row is extremely difficult. The manner here last year was different. We had to suffer in the second half to win the game. The team has another tool, something else to grab when you come to the bigger stage. You have to win. You have to win it. On Kai Havertz's performance, Mikel said he was sensational in every department today. He wasn't poor. He wasn't 100% today. He is still ill. He was ill before the match and was struggling a bit, but still put in a very, very good performance. On what the team did to bounce back after the disappointments earlier this month, he said first of all, it's how much they want it. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Be a part of the journey. When you are at the highest possible level, you're going to have disappointments, right? The margins are so small, so they are not always going to go in your way, and that's how you react, and it's how you react to that and face the challenge and the opportunity to be brave. On how much faith he has in his players, he says, "I do." But in the last few minutes, I was doubting them, to be fair. To be fair. On whether we've proved we can handle the running better than we did last year, Mikel says he thinks so. So it was a game of fine margins. And of course, like Mikel says there, I reached a time as well where I doubted the players. And he reached a time himself where he doubted the players, but we eventually got the job done.